Tonight, the Pioneer Championship is on the line as the Wadsworth Grizzlies travel north to meet the Mustangs right here in Strongsville. Hi, everyone. Mike Masson. Welcome to our pregame show. My guest, first of all, is going to be the superintendent of Wadsworth, Harold Fix. That's so far south, I can't even pronounce the name Wadsworth. Good to have you here, Harold.
It's good to be back on Channel 25 again this year. We enjoyed your visit to us last year during a Brunswick game.
Well, we enjoyed coming out there because you play a great brand of ball. And the gentleman who is going to find out something about the football they play out in Wadsworth in the Pioneer Conference is the new superintendent of the Strongsville schools. And the man I'm going to be talking to is Dr. John Brown. And welcome to Strongsville, John.
It's a pleasure for me to be here as well.
John, you have become superintendent of a real fine school system. You came from Indiana. But why in this day and age, with all the problems that schools have, does a man desire to become a superintendent?
Well, I don't know. My father was a board member and a clerk treasurer, and it just was a logical thing, I believe.
John, you spent a great deal of your career here in the Ohio area and then left it and now have come back.
Yes, it's just good to be home,
Yeah,
home
I guess
state.
It would be.
Right, sure is.
One of the things that you're no different in Strongsville, a fine community with a growing school system, is the fact that you're going to have some money problems the same as most of the school systems around the state.
That's very true, and we have an operating levy on the November 7th ballot.
And that's going to be, what, a little over 6 mills, they tell me.
6.7 mills. The issue is 47.
Why are always school issues so far down on the ballot?
I really don't know.
Boy, Cleveland's got one that's 34, and he's 47. That's in pretty bad shape. The people over there, Wadsworth, last year passed an operating levy, and so you're not going for any dollars this year, so you're really quite solid.
We're real happy this year.
Yeah, I guess you would be. You've got quite a building program going on out there at Wadsworth.
Yes, we've had a continuing building levy in operation for quite a while. We're in the stages of completing a $1.75 million field house. It won't be in operation this fall, but next year we'd like to welcome all the fans to come visit us in our new facility.
No, that's going to be great. You're going to have quite a new conference out there to welcome some of those teams.
Well, we've been delighted with the Pioneer Conference. It's a high level of competition, good sportsmanship. We'll be expanding with 2 Berea teams next year, and we've just been real pleased. We hope the people will find out where Wadsworth is and come visit us. It's 25 miles south, not too far.
No, good car ride and a beautiful evening like this, especially on a great football night.
Delightful night. I hope the game fits the night. It's beautiful.
Well, and talk about the level of competition in the new Pioneer Conference. Something John's going to be getting accustomed to really is this level of competition in this new Pioneer Conference. It's a new superintendent and new conference. But I guess athletics and some of the co-curricular activities to a new superintendent has got to be a vital part of the total school organization.
Absolutely. It contributes to a total overall program, valuable contribution.
Of course, that's what the name of the game, I guess, is sort of educating the entire child, and that's what some things like football and newspapers and bands do.
That's right.
So.
It's one of the differences to me is that in Indiana the sport was football or basketball rather than football.
All right.
That's correct.
Well, you won't knock Ohio for basketball because it's just as fierce as some of the football competition.
Oh, I personally prefer football to basketball.
Is that right? I like to see that round ball inside, and it's nice and warm. I don't have to sit out in the cold.
As a spectator, it's a little better, maybe.
One of the differences coming from Indiana to Ohio has got to be the method of taxation for operating of schools. We were just talking beforehand about some of the problems schools run into in the state of like Ohio. But the fact that there, the taxation and the amount of dollars given to schools is not left up to the electorate.
That's right. There's no referendum. Of course, it's possible, but it is not needed in Indiana.
So the state just applies the dollars.
Right.
That seems to be the hue and cry here of all the people in Ohio. The state should be bailing out the schools. And yet we find 2 gentlemen running for governor and saying they have the answers to all the problems. The schools they'll be able to solve those problems once they become governor. Is that going to hurt the passage of all the school issues on the ballot?
I hope it doesn't hurt ours.
That's a selfish attitude, but go ahead.
Well, I think that both candidates are promising more and more, and they're not going to raise taxes, and quite frankly, I'm puzzled as to how they propose to do that.
All they've done is seem to make promises.
That's correct. It's political rhetoric, and I am confident that the voter will be able to see through that.
Let's certainly hope so. Any other good things that going on in that system out there at Wadsworth, a little south of us?
Well, we're going to start competitive soccer next year. We expect to take our lumps for a while, but we always try to be competitive eventually, so we're looking forward to also getting involved with league teams in that sport. And we just have a wonderful community that supports us in every way, academically, athletically, and they come out to see. And it's, I've been in Wadsworth since 1965, and it's a new home for me. I'm not going to stay a superintendent, but I think I'll stay.
Now, is the competition in the new Pioneer Conference going to be just athletics, or will it involve some of the other activities that go on in schools?
No, we're involving in the academic areas, too, in areas of speech and debate and other areas. It'll be a total competition. I firmly believe that athletic and academic competition is vital to the development of young people in their both physically, mentally, psychologically, in just every way. It's just necessary for total education of a pupil.
Well, you've got a great system out there, and John, you've walked into just a great system over here, and I think it would be premature if I'd ask you about any great changes that you'd be hoping to make in the Strongsville system. You really haven't been here that long. But
not really, but you know, you're right, we do have an excellent educational program, and we hope to be able to keep it and to gradually improve it over the period of time.
Will there be any more growth out in Strongsville because of some of the land mass that you have as an opportunity for growth and bringing in more students, or do you have a declining enrollment like most school systems?
One of our problems is, as well as inflation, we have an increasing student number each year, and we anticipate growth for the next many years.
So you're talking about 5 years from now that you will have more pupils than you even have right now?
Oh, correct. Absolutely correct. In fact, 10 years from now, we'll have more than we have now.
Maybe this is an unfair question, but do you know really how much land is still available for building out here in Strongsville? I know you've been here a short time.
Well, I know that the last statistics that I read, 52% of Strongsville is developed, and I don't know if I don't know if that means that there's another 48% left or not, but I am aware that there's a considerable amount of land left for development.
Well, you're one of the few school systems in this area that then has potential for growth. Maybe places like Solon and Westlake and places like that. But right around the greater Cleveland area, you're about one of the few.
Well,
which is going to present some problems.
It certainly will. Strongsville is the second largest geographical area in Cuyahoga County, next to Cleveland.
And we have no room for growth, which means you're going to come out here.
Well, that's true, and we hope to meet the challenge and continue operating quality programs.
Well, I'm certain you will, and Jim, we want to welcome you back, or John. I don't want to keep on calling him Jim Brown, but we want to welcome you back to your home state of Cleveland and welcome you to the Pioneer Conference, and I know that Harold feels the same way, and it's going to be a new conference spreading now to 8 teams, which will encompass some of the major football powers in this area, including places like Brecksville and Strongsville, and of course Mid-Park and Berea, who had a great football team this year. So it should be a good year for you.
Yes, we've enjoyed it. Thank you for inviting us here, and I hope we have a good game.
Well, you gave us a thrill last year with that fine running back you've gotten in Raymond, and we're looking forward to seeing him again tonight. Super athlete.
Jim Reynolds.
Yeah, Reynolds.
Yes, he's had a real good year. He leads our area in scoring, and he's an exciting runner, and I hope he does well tonight. 1,700
yards in 8 ball games is pretty exciting running.
He's got a pretty good line in front of him.
Yeah, I guess he has. But I want to thank both of you gentlemen so much for being our pregame guests. And thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay, Harold, thank you so very much. Okay, now it's time to call in the expert, Brian Powers, and see what he has to say about these 2 fine ball clubs. I call him Raymond. It is Reynolds. How could you forget a name like that?
Yeah,
Jimmy Reynolds.
That name quite a bit tonight because he is a premier back.
Brian, in contrast to what we're going to be seeing, I think if you had to take a look at Wadsworth, of course they've got the key man you've got to try and stop, and no one's been able to, and that is Reynolds. But it's sort of a game control. It was a ball control. But they score on you. They march down the field and just hurt you.
I'll tell you, his moves are something on film. We get a chance to look at film every week, and the film, all of us were impressed from cameraman to crew and lookers on this week because, as you say, they like to keep the ball on the ground if they can, but his acceleration is so great. A lot of backs are faster, but I guess size, ability. It's his third year on the varsity, and the experience with it. He makes a move, and all of a sudden he's got another 8 or 10 yards. So he's just dynamite to watch, and I know it's going to be a lot of fun watching him back like that.
You know, talking to Joe Vidini, the head coach at Brecksville, he said there are a couple of times where he was contained in the backfield, should have made no gain. He broke one off for 84 yards.
Well, we saw him on that one pass play where quarterback was really stuck and didn't have anywhere to dump it off, and that quick, Reynolds read the moves, came over the middle, picked it off, and went about 85 or 90 yards, and turned, you know, a real good defensive play into a touchdown offensively, and that's what an extra good back can do to you.
Talking about Strongsville offensively, they're going to be going to roll out the option, sort of a different ball club and a southpaw thrower.
Yeah, left-handed thrower. He'll throw the ball. They'll get into a veer offense. There will not be, as we would say, a fullback behind him. That slot will be open. It'll be a halfback on either side and a short flanker. It's a good offense to watch because there's a lot of ball handling. The quarterback is a magician with the ball. He'll put the bare hand in, put the ball in, take it out. Quarterback will run sharp off tackle or end. If you don't come cross with your cornerbacks on him very tight, then he'll throw the pitch out, and it's really an interesting offense to watch, and one with the colleges are having a lot of success, and undefeated Strongsville is having a lot of success this year.
Oh, one of the few remaining undefeated. In fact, I think the only remaining undefeated team in the Greater Cleveland Conference, Strongsville. What about defense? We're going to see a 4-4. We've seen more 4-4s this year than we've seen in the last 3 years put together.
Yeah, this 4-4 is going to be different, really. This 4-4 is, I don't know, the old-time football fans a few years back remember the split 6 or the 6-2. Look for 4 men down on the line, as we've seen the 4 played this year, and then the 2 linebackers kind of inside, and then they will respond to the play. They're almost next to each other. There'll be about a yard in between shoulder to shoulder on the 2 inside linebackers, and then watch them react to the play. I think that's something different to look for tonight, a different 4-4. You want to call it a 4-2. I think we might be more correct with that terminology tonight.
All right, what about, what is it, a 5-2 we're going to be seeing?
5-2 with a monster back going probably to the wide side of the field or to the flanker side of the field. I would imagine they will do more keying on Reynolds tonight. I think you have to set your defense against a back like this. You don't want to make too many changes because someone else will come up and kill you, because they do have a good running fullback, and the quarterback can hurt you. In fact, he's an excellent runner. But you have to, you stop Reynolds. You're stopping someone that's going to go over 100 yards, 150 yards, and sometimes more in a ball game.
Well, of course, you mentioned the fullback McGill. He can hurt you. Both boys are dashmen in the track team, so anyone can break it up on you.
Yeah, that's it, and that's why they have such a good ball club. They do have one defeat, but it's deceiving. It was against a state-ranked Barberton ball club, exceptionally good ball club, and that was a tight ball game. The coaching staff are very proud of Wadsworth this year.
Well, they should be very proud. We've got a great game in store for you. This really is the last year of the Pioneer Conference as we know it now. 6 teams. They'll be jumping to 8 with the 2 Berea teams coming in. So Brian and I'll be back with the starting lineup. But first, let's take this time out.